Now you put that in the context of an ad that came out yesterday, actually that was, funded by those opposed to Trump, in which women were repeating lines that Trump has used about women in the past, an idea that maybe this was actually going to be an attempt to get people to look at him in a different way. This ad either reinforces that image or undercuts it, but he's not afraid of it. And I think what it's saying to us is that this race is by no means hit bottom.
Well, even that ad yesterday, clearly after last night's results, not having a huge impact. And this is, Donald Trump has said all along, when people question him about his tone and some of his controversial remarks, I'll speak presidentially when I need to, or
Right.
just wait. This ad doesn't sound as though we're going to see much of that in the coming weeks anyway. I want to ask you, because you were there and had a chance to speak to voters over the several days you were in Florida, I know one of the main things you were asking them is, why are you supporting Donald Trump? So
Right.
what's your sense of who these people are and what their answer to that question is?
I think the takeaway for me is that there are two distinct groups who support him for almost completely opposing reasons, and yet both find their way to supporting Trump. And I think where we're going to see the rubber hit the road for that is if in fact he wins the nomination and who knows, wins the White House, which side is he going to cater to? There are people who like what he's saying, especially like the messages of intolerance that are a big part of his message at these rallies now. They support that. There are others who say, that's just showmanship. He doesn't really mean it. He's just getting people into the tent, that he's going to be a much more moderate guy. They say, remember, he used to be a Democrat, that's the guy who he's going to be if he wins. What's interesting is you cannot satisfy both groups at the end of the race. He's going to have to choose one. And I think that's actually the question that people are starting to ask themselves. Which group is he more aligned to, more likely to make happy? And then what about the group that feels disenfranchised if he wins? And I think that's actually what we might be seeing play out over the next few months as people try to decide which Trump that they're supporting is the Trump who will be there at the end.
Fascinating to watch. Thanks for stopping by with your thoughts.
Thanks.